Absolutely. Let's go deeper while still keeping the explanation super simple, like I'm teaching someone with no background in science, step by step, word by word, idea by idea. Full, deep, detailed, super simple summary. 1. What is biology? The word biology means the study of life. Bio means life. Logi means study or science. So biology is the science that studies living things like humans, animals, plants, insects, and even tiny germs and bacteria. Biology tries to answer, what makes something alive? How do living things grow, move, breathe, eat, reproduce, and die? How are different living things connected? 2. The world is full of life. Everywhere on Earth, there are living things. Tiny ones like bacteria, medium ones like frogs and flowers, big ones like whales and trees. This great variety of living things is called biodiversity. No matter where you look, deep in the ocean, high in the mountains, inside your body, you will find different types of life, and biology tries to understand all of them. 3. How did people first understand life? Thousands of years ago, early humans saw that some things around them were alive, and some were not. A tree grows, it's alive. A rock doesn't grow, it's not alive. A tiger moves and hunts, it's alive. A river flows but doesn't eat or reproduce, not alive. But early humans didn't have science. They used feelings and beliefs to understand nature. So they often felt awe, respect mixed with fear toward powerful things like fire, storms, oceans, and wild animals. They even treated these things like gods because they didn't understand them. This is called deifying, making something into a god. When did people start studying life properly? Real, scientific study of living things started much later in human history. In the beginning, people mostly cared only about humans. This is called an anthropocentric view. It means seeing humans as the center of everything. These people didn't study animals or plants deeply, so their understanding of biology was small and limited. Only when people started to study all life forms, not just humans, did biology really start to grow as a science. 5. Why did we need to classify life? As scientists discovered more and more living things, they needed a way to identify, what is this living thing? Name, what should we call it? Group, what other living things is it similar to? This led to the systems of identification, finding out what something is, nomenclature, giving it a proper scientific name, classification, putting it in a group with similar things. This is like organizing books in a library. Without it, things become confusing. 6. The big discovery. All life is connected. As scientists classified more and more life forms, they found something amazing. All living things are similar in some ways. A lion, a bird, a fish, a tree, and a human all share some common features. Even bacteria and humans share tiny parts of life machinery. They found that life forms today are related to each other horizontally, and they are also connected to ancient life from millions of years ago, vertically. This means you, me, a cat, and a flower all are distant cousins in a huge tree of life that started long, long ago. 7. This humbled humans. When people learned this, it changed their thinking. Before, humans thought they were special, above everything else. After, people realized we are just one part of a huge living system. This realization made people feel humble. It lowered their pride and helped them see that all life is important. 8. It led to conservation. Once people understood how connected and fragile life is, they began movements to protect nature. This is called conservation of biodiversity, saving forests, animals, rivers, plants, and even small bugs, because every living thing matters in the chain of life. 9. What will you learn next? In the next parts of your study, you'll learn how scientists, called taxonomists, look at living things. They study living things in a careful, step-by-step way. They give each life form a proper name and place in the tree of life. Understand what lives on Earth, how to protect it, and how it all fits together. Final simple message. Biology is the key to understanding life. It teaches us that we are not alone or above nature. We are part of it. Every living thing is our relative, and we must learn, respect, and protect the life around us. Would you like a picture or diagram to go with this explanation? Or should I turn this into a simple story or video-like scene? Here is a great, deeply detailed, and super simple summary of everything about Ernst Mayr, explained clearly for anyone with no science background, like telling a story step by step. A simple but deep summary. Was he? Who was he? Ernst Mayr, pronounced Meyer, was one of the greatest scientists who ever lived. He was born in 1904 in a town called Kempten in Germany. He lived for 100 years and died in 2004. He spent almost his whole life studying nature, animals, and how living things change over time. He is known as the Darwin of the 20th century because he continued and improved the work of Charles Darwin, the man who first explained evolution. What did he do? Ernst Mayr was a biologist, someone who studies life. More specifically, he was an evolutionary biologist. He studied how animals and plants slowly change and become new kinds of species over time. He worked at Harvard University in the USA, one of the most famous universities in the world. He joined Harvard in 1953 and retired in 1975, but he kept working, writing, and thinking until the very end of his life. What fields did he study? In simple words, Ernst Mayr's work touched many areas of biology. 1. Ornithology, the study of birds. He loved birds and studied them in forests and faraway islands. 2. Taxonomy, how we name and group living things in science. He helped organize animals into categories like species, genera, etc. 3. Zoogeography, where animals live in the world and why they live there. For example, why kangaroos are in Australia but not in Africa. 4. Evolution, how living things change slowly over generations. For example, how fish became land animals over millions of years. 5. Systematics, the study of how all living things are related like a family tree for life. 6. History and philosophy of biology. He also studied how science works and how ideas in biology have changed over time. What did he discover or change in science? 1. He changed how we think about evolution. He asked a deep question. Why are there so many different species in the world? Instead of just studying how life changes, he focused on how new species appear and made this the main question in evolutionary biology. 2. He gave us the modern definition of a species. He said a species is a group of living things that can breed with each other and have babies that can also have babies. This is called the biological species concept. Scientists all over the world still use it today. Example, a lion and a lion can have cubs, same species. A lion and a tiger make a liger, but ligers can't usually have babies, different species. 3. He made evolutionary biology more powerful. Before Mayr, scientists knew about evolution, but he made it more exact, more detailed, and more focused on real animals and their changes. What awards did he win? Mayr won the 3 biggest awards in biology, the Triple Crown. 1. Balzan Prize, 1983. 2. International Prize for Biology, 1994. 3. Crawford Prize, 1999. A prize almost like the Nobel Prize, but for biology. Very few people win all 3. That shows how respected and important he was in science. What made him special? He worked for nearly 80 years, always learning and teaching. He loved nature deeply and tried to understand it with logic and care. He was brilliant, but also clear and simple in the way he explained things. He helped build a bridge between Darwin's old ideas and modern science. He left behind books, papers, and ideas that still shape science today. In one final line, Ernst Mayr was a scientist who helped the world understand how life changes and why we have so many different living things on Earth. He helped shape modern biology and is remembered as one of the greatest minds in science history. Would you like a timeline, a visual chart, or a story-style version of his life next? Sure. Let me explain this passage in more depth with great detail, but still using the simplest words possible. I'll add examples and extra info to help you fully understand. Step 1. How wonderful is the living world? The world we live in is full of living things. These include animals, plants, fungi, tiny bacteria, and even single-celled creatures. This huge variety of life is so amazing that it fills us with wonder and happiness. Think of your favorite animal or plant. Now imagine thousands more, all different shapes, sizes, and colors. Life is like a big, colorful painting made from millions of living things. Step 2. The wide range of living types is amazing. There are millions of different kinds of living things on Earth. Some are so tiny you need a microscope to see them, like bacteria. Others are huge like elephants or giant trees. This variety means life has found many ways to survive. For example, a cactus in the desert stores water to survive dry weather. A polar bear has thick fur to stay warm in the cold. A fish has gills to breathe underwater. Each type of life is special in how it lives and survives. Step 3. The extraordinary habitats in which we find living organisms. Living things don't just live anywhere. They live in places called habitats. Habitats are the natural homes where living things grow, find food, and reproduce. Here are some habitats and the living things found there. Cold mountains. Very cold places where animals like snow leopards live. Deciduous forests. Forests where trees lose their leaves in fall. Deer and birds live here. Oceans. Huge water bodies full of fish, whales, and coral reefs. Freshwater lakes. Ponds and lakes where frogs and freshwater fish live. Deserts. Dry and hot places with very little water. Cacti and camels survive here. Hot springs. Very hot water coming out from inside the earth where special bacteria live. It's amazing that life can survive and thrive in such different places, from freezing cold to boiling hot. Step 4. The beauty of a galloping horse, migrating birds, valley of flowers, attacking shark. Nature shows us many beautiful and powerful sights. A galloping horse runs fast and looks strong and graceful. Migrating birds travel thousands of miles every year, flying from cold places to warm places and back. A valley full of flowers is like a colorful carpet made by nature. An attacking shark is a powerful predator in the ocean. These sights make us feel amazed and show us how life can be both beautiful and strong. Step 5. Ecological conflict and cooperation. In nature, living things sometimes fight and sometimes help each other. This is part of how life works. Conflict means competition or fight for food, space, or mates. For example, 2 lions might fight over a kill. Cooperation means working together or helping. For example, bees help flowers by spreading pollen, and flowers give bees nectar. Step 6. Among members of a population and populations of a community. A population is a group of living things of the same kind living together. For example, all the deer in a forest are one population. A community is all the different populations living in one place. So the deer, the wolves, the birds, and the trees together form a community. Step 7. Even the molecular traffic inside a cell. Inside every living thing's body, there are tiny building blocks called cells. Inside each cell, there is constant movement. Molecules carrying oxygen and nutrients move around. Waste products get removed. Chemicals react to keep the cell alive. This tiny, busy movement inside cells is called molecular traffic, and it keeps all living things alive. Step 8 makes us deeply reflect on what indeed is life. Seeing all this complexity, the fighting and helping, the habitats, the beautiful animals, and the tiny work inside cells makes us wonder, what exactly is life? Step 9. This question has 2 implicit questions within it. The big question on what is life actually has 2 smaller questions inside it. Step 10. The first is a technical one. This is a scientific question. How do we know if something is alive or not? For example, is a rock alive? No, it does not grow or reproduce. Is a plant alive? Yes, it grows and makes seeds. Scientists look for special things that all living things do, like grow, eat or take in energy, reproduce, make babies, respond to the environment, remove waste. If something does these things, it is called living. Step 11. The second is a philosophical one. This question is about the meaning or purpose of life. Why do living things exist? What is the meaning of life? This is a question about feelings, beliefs, and personal thoughts, not something science can answer clearly. Step 12. As scientists, we shall not attempt answering the second question. Scientists do not try to answer questions about meaning or purpose because those are personal or religious beliefs, not scientific facts. Past step 13, we will try to reflect on what is living. Scientists focus on the first question, to understand what makes something alive. Summary. Life is wonderful and full of many different types. Life exists in many habitats, from cold mountains to hot springs. Living things can fight or help each other. Inside cells, tiny processes keep life going. We ask, what is life? This question has two parts, a scientific one, what is living versus non-living, and a philosophical one, what is the purpose of life? Science studies only the first part. Would you like me to explain what features all living things share, or how scientists decide if something... Absolutely. Let's go even deeper into this passage and explain each idea in the simplest, most beginner-friendly way, with extra details, real-life examples, and super clear language, like the best teacher would explain to someone with no background in science. Title: Diversity in the Living World. This title means there are many different types of living things on Earth. This variety is called diversity. Let's now break down the passage line by line and explain every concept with extra meaning and clarity. 1. If you look around, you will see a large variety of living organisms. Simple meaning. If you look around at your home, street, garden, or park, you'll see many different living things. What are living organisms? They are things that are alive. They can grow, eat or take in food, breathe or exchange gases, move, even slowly, like plants growing, reproduce, make babies or seeds, react to the environment, die someday. Examples. A dog is a living organism. A tree is a living organism. A mosquito is a living organism. A flower, fish, bird, or cat, all are living organisms. Extra detail. You might even have seen living things inside your home, like ants in the kitchen, or mold, a type of fungus growing on old bread. 2. Be it potted plants, insects, birds, your pets, or other animals and plants. Simple meaning. Living things you see may be a potted plant in your home, an insect crawling on the wall, a bird flying outside, a pet like a dog or cat, other animals like cows, squirrels, other plants, trees, grass. This shows life comes in many forms, sizes, and colors. 3. There are also several organisms that you cannot see with your naked eye. Naked eye means without a microscope or magnifying glass. Meaning, there are living things that are so small that we can't see them just by looking. You need a microscope to see them. These are called microorganisms. Examples: bacteria. Some help us digest food. Some make us sick. Viruses. They cause diseases like the flu or COVID-19. Protozoa, found in dirty water. Some can cause diseases. Fungi, like yeast, used to make bread and cakes rise. Extra info. Microorganisms are everywhere, in the air, in water, on our skin, even inside our bodies. 4. But they are all around you. Meaning, even though you can't see them, microscopic living things are everywhere. In the water you drink, on the surfaces in your kitchen, on your skin, in the soil under your feet. They are invisible to your eyes, but very important to life. 5. If you were to increase the area that you make observations in. Meaning, if you look at more places, not just your house, you will see even more types of life. For example, looking only at your backyards, a few birds, insects, and plants. Going to a farm, more animals like cows, goats, buffaloes. Going to a forest, hundreds of plants, animals, insects, fungi, and more. The larger the area, the more life forms you'll find. 6. The range and variety of organisms that you see would increase. Meaning, as you explore bigger or different areas, like deserts, oceans, or mountains, you'll find more types of living things. Example, in a desert, you might see camels and cactus. In a jungle, you'll see tigers, monkeys, tall trees. In a pond, you'll see frogs, fish, and algae. So Earth has an amazing range and variety, different kinds of living organisms. Obviously, if you were to visit a dense forest, dense is a thick green forest with many trees and activity. Meaning, in such a natural place, many types of living things live together. These places are full of life because they have food, they have water, they have shelter, safe places to live. They are not disturbed by humans much. You would probably see a much greater number and kinds of living organisms in it. Meaning, in a dense forest, you'll see more animals like deer, snakes, birds, insects, more plants, different trees, shrubs, flowers, grasses, more fungi and microbes living in the soil and on leaves. Example, in the Amazon rainforest, a dense forest, scientists discover new species every year. 9. Each different kind of plant, animal, or organism that you see represents a species. Important word, species. What is a species? A species is a group of living things that are similar and can have babies together. Examples, all humans belong to one species. Homo sapiens. All mango trees belong to one species. All lions belong to one species. Dogs, cats, and cows are each their own species. So, each kind of plant or animal you see is one species. TOS 10. The number of species that are known and described range between 1.7 to 1.8 million. Meaning, scientists have already found and described about 1.7 to 1.8 million species. That is, 17 to 18 lakh different kinds of living things. These include plants, animals, fungi, bacteria, tiny organisms in water, insects. Insects alone make up most of the species. 11. This refers to biodiversity, or the number and types of organisms present on Earth. Important word, biodiversity. Bio equals life. Diversity equals variety. Biodiversity equals the total variety of living things on Earth. It includes every plant and animal, every mushroom and bacteria, everything from the tallest tree to the smallest germ. High biodiversity. A place has many different species. 12. We should remember here that as we explore new areas, meaning, as scientists go to new places, like deep oceans, high mountains, untouched forests, they still find new species that no one has ever seen before. 13. And even old ones, new organisms are continuously being identified. Meaning, even in places we've studied before, new life forms are still being found. Some are so small or hidden that we missed them before. Example, in 2023, scientists found a new species of spider in an old forest they had visited many times before. Final summary. In very simple words, there are many types of living things around us, small and big. Some are so tiny we need a microscope to see them. As we look at bigger places, we find more types of living things. Every different kind of living thing is called a species. Scientists have discovered about 1.8 million species so far. This big variety is called biodiversity. Even today, new species are being found all over the world, in forests, oceans, and even your backyard. Would you like me to explain why biodiversity is important? Scientists name new species, or help you learn how to recognize a species yourself? Just ask. I'll tell you, step by step. Of course. Let me now give you an even deeper and simpler explanation of this topic. Like someone with no background, I'll explain every word and idea with examples and comparisons so you truly understand. Deep, detailed, and super simple explanation. Naming living things. 1. There are millions of living organisms. All around us, there are many kinds of living things. Plants, like trees, grasses, flowers, animals, like elephants, insects, like ants, butterflies, mosquitoes, birds, like pigeons, crows, parrots, even tiny things we can't see without a microscope, like bacteria and viruses. Scientists believe there are more than 10 million different kinds of living things on Earth. We have already found and described about 1.7 to 1.8 million of them. New ones are still being found every year. 2. We give them local names. In daily life, we usually use local names for these living things. For example, a mango tree might be called in Hindi, Mavina Mara in Kannada, Mangifera indica in scientific language. A neem tree might be called neem in English, Vepamaram in Tamil, Azadirakta indica, scientific name. So the same plant or animal may have different names in different places, even within the same country. Number 3. Why is this a problem? Let's say a scientist in India calls an animal gave. A scientist in Brazil calls the same animal ox. A scientist in Japan calls it ushi. If they are all talking in a meeting, how will they know they're talking about the same animal? Big problem in science. If everyone uses different names, we can't share information clearly. The solution, a global naming system. So scientists created a universal system. This system gives each living thing only one name, which is used all over the world. This is called nomenclature, which just means the method of naming. These names are always in Latin or Greek, old languages no one uses daily, so the names don't change. Always follow rules set by scientists around the world. Are unique. No two different organisms have the same name. Number 5. Example names. Each name has genus name, like a surname, capitalized. 2. Species name, like a first name, lowercase. Together, they give a full name. Examples. Common name, scientific name. Human, Homo sapiens. Sapiens, mango tree, Mangifera indica. House cat, Felis cat, Indian cobra, Naja Naja. This is like a passport name, one name used in every country. 6. We must identify. You can't name something unless you know what it really is. So first, scientists must identify the organism. What does it look like? How many legs does it have? Does it make flowers or fruits? Does it live in water or on land? Is it like any known species? This careful process is called identification. Once the organism is properly studied and compared with other known species, it is given a name using scientific rules. Number 7. Why is this important? It helps all scientists speak the same language. It helps avoid confusion. It helps in studying, protecting animals properly. It helps in classifying them into groups and families. 8. Summary of process. Step. What happens? 1. You find a living thing, like a new plant. 2. You study it carefully. You identify what makes it special. 4. You compare it with other known species. 5. If it's new, you give it a scientific name. This name is used worldwide. Would you like me to now explain how classification works, how we group living things into kingdoms, families, etc.? I can continue and break that down in the same easy, deep style. Sure. Here's a great, deep, detailed summary of the passage you shared, explained in the simplest and clearest way, like teaching a beginner. Detailed, simple summary. Naming living things. Scientific naming nomenclature. There are millions of living things on Earth. Animals, plants, insects, bacteria, and more. Each place in the world has its own local language, so the same animal or plant might be called by different names in different places. For example, the same tree or animal might have 10 different names in 10 languages. This creates confusion, especially when people from different countries try to talk about the same organism. To solve this problem, science of scientific naming, which gives each living thing only one special name that is used all over the world, no matter what language you speak. This system is called nomenclature, which just means the process of. Is this needed? The science is created based on rules and guidelines that scientists around the world agree on. These rules are written in special rule books. There are 2 rule books. One for plants, the rule book is called ICBN, International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. 2. For animals, the rule book is called ICZN, International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. These rule books make sure each organism has only one name. That name is not already used for any other living thing. The name is based on features like shape, behavior, etc. Anyone who reads about that organism can correctly identify it. Structure of a scientific name, binomial nomenclature. Every scientific name has 2 parts. 1. Genus, like a family name, group of similar organisms. 2. Species, like a personal name specific to that organism. Examples: human, Homo sapiens; cat, Felis catus; lion, Panthera leo; mango, Mangifera indica. How to write a scientific name. There are rules. Always 2 words. First word, genus, starts with a capital letter. Second word, species, starts with a small letter. The full name is written in italics if typed. If written by hand, it should be underlined. Example: correct, Homo sapiens. typed. Correct, Homo sapiens, written. Why this system is important. It removes confusion between local names. Scientists in any country can talk about the same organism easily. It helps organize all living things into clear groups. It makes study and research easier. Final point. Before you can name something, you must first identify it correctly. This means you must be sure about what kind of organism it is and what features it has. Only after that, you can give it the correct scientific name. Would you like an illustrated version with diagrams or a story-based example next? Here is a great, deep, and detailed summary of the passage you gave, written in the simplest and clearest language possible, like teaching a total beginner or a child. Detailed summary. Scientific naming of living things. Binomial nomenclature. Scientists all over the world have found that just using local names for plants and animals can create a lot of confusion. For example, a mango might be called by different names in English, Hindi, Tamil, or Bengali. If someone from another country hears the name, they might not understand which plant you're talking about. To solve this problem, scientists decided to create a standard way to name every living thing, and they agreed to use a system that works everywhere in the world. This system is called binomial nomenclature. What is binomial nomenclature? The word binomial means two names. The word nomenclature means naming system. So, binomial nomenclature simply means a system where every living thing gets a name made of two words. This system was created by a scientist named Carolus Linnaeus in the 1700s, and it is still used by all biologists today. How does it work? Every scientific name has two parts. One, genus. This is the first word. It tells the group or category the organism belongs to. Two, species or specific epithet. This is the second word. It tells the exact type or individual kind of the organism within the group. For example, Mangifera indica is the scientific name of the mango. Mangifera is the genus, group of similar fruit trees. Indica is the species, the kind of mango found in India. So this two-part name tells us exactly which plant we are talking about, and everyone in the world will understand it. Why use scientific names instead of local names? Local names are different in every place or language. Scientific names are the same everywhere in the world. This makes communication clear and easy between scientists from different countries. What rules do scientists follow for naming? Scientists follow strict international rules so that every name is correct and unique. 1. Scientific names are in Latin. Latin is not spoken anymore, so the meanings of the words do not change. Even if the word came from another language, it is changed into a Latin form. 2. Names are written in italics when typed. Example, Mangifera indica. 3. When written by hand, both words are underlined separately. Like this, Mangifera indica. 4. The first word, genus, always starts with a capital letter. Example, Mangifera. 5. The second word, species, always starts with a small letter. Example, Indic. Who decides these names? For plants, names are given using the International Code for Botanical Nomenclature, ICBN. For animals, names are given using the International Code of Zoological Nomenclature, ICZN. These are like rule books that help scientists name organisms in the right way. Main benefits of scientific naming. Every organism has one and only one scientific name. No two organisms can have the same name. It avoids confusion from using different local names. It helps scientists from different countries understand each other clearly. Final example to help you remember. Let's take the dog as an example. Its scientific name is Canis lupus familiaris. Canis equals the genus, group that includes dogs and wolves. Lupus familiaris, the species and subspecies, the domestic dog. No matter where you are, India, Japan, America, Africa, scientists will always know you're talking about the same animal when you say Canis lupus familiaris. Would you like this turned into a fun chart, a story, or a quiz to help you remember better? Here is a very deep, detailed, and simplest possible summary of the passage, explained like teaching a total beginner. Summary: naming and classification of living things. 1. Scientific naming. Binomial nomenclature. Scientists all over the world give each living organism a special name. This name is accepted everywhere, no matter which language people speak. Each scientific name has two parts. The first part is the genus. It shows the group or family the organism belongs to. The second part is the species. It shows the exact kind of organism. This system is called binomial nomenclature. Bi means two, nomial means names. Example: the scientific name of Mangifera indica. Mangifera is the genus. Indica is the species. These names are usually in Latin, an old language that no one speaks now but is used in science. When writing the name, genus name starts with a capital letter. Species name starts with a small letter. Both names are written in italics or underlined when handwritten. After the name, the scientist who named the organism is written, like Mangifera indica Linn, which means Linnaeus described this mango species. 2. Why scientific naming is important. Local names are different in every place. One plant or animal might have many names in different areas. To avoid confusion, scientists use the same name everywhere. Everyone around the world knows the organism by this one name. 3. Classification of organisms. There are millions of living organisms on Earth. Studying each one separately would be impossible, so scientists group them into categories based on similar features. This grouping process is called classification. Example: we group dogs, cats, birds, insects, and plants because we notice certain common features. A dog has body hair and gives birth to babies, so we call it a mammal. Wheat is a plant we eat. We know what it looks like, so we group it with other similar plants. 4. What is a taxon? Plural, taxa? A taxon is a scientific word for any group in classification. It could be a big group like plants, or a small one like wheat. Examples: animals is a taxon. Mammals is a taxon. Dogs is also a taxon. Dogs are part of mammals, and mammals are part of animals. So taxa are categories at different levels of grouping. In simple words, naming helps us all talk about the same organism clearly. Classification helps us organize the millions of life forms on Earth. Scientists use rules and logic so that the system works for everyone. These names and groups help us study, remember, and talk about plants and animals easily. Would you like me to show this in a chart or story format to help even more? Let's now go even deeper, step by step, in the simplest language, like teaching someone with no background at all. I will break every idea into tiny parts, add easy examples, and explain slowly and clearly so nothing is confusing. #1. What is taxonomy? Taxonomy is the science of naming, describing, and grouping all living things, like plants, animals, fungi, etc. You can think of it like organizing your school bag. Books go in one pocket, pens in another, snacks in another. That way, everything is organized and you can find anything easily. In the same way, scientists organize millions of living things into proper groups so they're easy to study. #2. Why do we group living things? There are millions of living things on Earth. Imagine trying to study each one without any system. It would be total confusion. So scientists group living things based on their features, also called characteristics. 3. What are characteristics? Characteristics are the things we can see or find about an organism. There are 4 main kinds of characteristics used in taxonomy. A. External structure, what it looks like outside. Example: dog has fur, 4 legs, tail. Rose plant has green stem, red flower, thorns. B. Internal structure, what it looks like inside. Example: humans have lungs, heart, bones. Plants have roots, xylem tissues. C. Cell structure, how its tiny cells look under a microscope. Example: animal cells don't have cell walls. Plant cells do have cell walls and chloroplasts. D. Ecological information, where it lives, what it eats. Example: camel lives in the desert and stores fat in its hump. Fish live in water and breathe with gills. So when scientists see all these features, they decide what it is, where it fits, what group it belongs to. 4. What is a taxon, plural taxa? A taxon is just a group of living things that share some common features. Some examples: animals is a taxon. Mammals is another smaller taxon within animals. Dogs is a still smaller taxon inside mammals. So taxa are like folders inside folders. Big folder, animals. Inside that, mammals. Inside that, dogs. Inside that, Alsatians. Every group has a name, and it is part of taxonomy. 5. How do scientists name living things? Nomenclature. Each living thing has a scientific name made of 2 parts. One for its group, called genus. One for its own kind, called species. This system is called binomial nomenclature. Bi to nomial was names. For example, mango's scientific name is Mangifera indica. Mangifera is the genus group. Indica is the species, kind of mango. 6. Rules for writing scientific names. Both names are written in Latin, or made to sound like Latin, because Latin is a language nobody uses in daily life, so it never changes. Genus starts with a capital letter. Species starts with a small letter. Example, Homo sapiens, the scientific name of humans. When typed, names are in italics. Like this, Panthera leo, lion. When written by hand, underline both words separately. Like this, Panthera leo. 7. Who names the organism? After the name, scientists sometimes write who first named it. Example, Mangifera indica, Lin. This means the mango was first described by Linnaeus, the scientist. 8. What is classification? Classification means putting things into groups so we can understand and study them easily. We classification every day. At home, clothes in one shelf, books in another, toys in one section, vegetables in another. Scientists do the same with living things. For example, if we say mammals, you imagine animals with hair and who feed their babies milk, like humans, dogs, cats. If we say bird, you think of feathers, beak, flying, like seal. That's because these are classified groups. Your brain knows what goes. 9. Why did early humans care about classification? Long ago, people didn't do this for science. They grouped living things based on what they could use them for. Animals for food, like goats. Plants for medicine, like tulsi. Trees for wood and shelter. So the first classification was about survival, not science. 10. What does modern taxonomy include? Today, taxonomy uses outer features, legs, leaves, feathers, etc. Inner parts, heart, roots, bones. Cells, animal cell or plant cell. Growth pattern, like seed to tree. Habitat and behavior, lives in water, eats meat, etc. This makes taxonomy more accurate and scientific than before. Final deep summary, like the world's best teacher. Taxonomy is the science of organizing living things. Scientists use it to describe, name, and group organisms. Living things are grouped based on what they look like, outside and inside, how they grow, their cells, and how they live. These groups are called taxa. Scientists use a special naming system called binomial nomenclature, 2-part names in Latin. This helps scientists all over the world use one name for each living thing. Long ago, people grouped plants and animals based on usefulness. Today, taxonomy is based on scientific observation and study. Would you like a diagram, a flowchart, or examples for each step next? Of course. Let's now explain the whole passage you gave, word by word, line by line, in the simplest and clearest way, with great depth, easy examples, and extra detail to help you understand like a total beginner. Human beings were, since long, not only interested in knowing more about different kinds of organisms and their diversities, but also the relationships among them. Simplest deep explanation. Human beings equals people like you and me. Were, since long, for a very long time, even thousands of years ago. People have always wanted to know what kinds of living things, organisms are around them, like animals, plants, birds, insects, fish, etc. What makes each living thing different or special? This is called diversity. How these living things are connected or related to one another. Example. Long ago, people noticed birds fly and insects fly. Are they the same or different? A lion is big and a cat is small, but they look alike. Are they related? Humans and monkeys have hands and faces that look alike. Are we cousins in some way? People were curious. They wanted to study and organize all this information about living things. Original sentence 2. This branch of study was referred to as systematics. Simplest deep explanation. The word branch means a part or a subject of science. The science of studying different living things, how they are grouped, and how they are connected is called systematics. So systematics equals studying and organizing living things based on their features and relationships. Original sentence 3. The word systematics is derived from the Latin word systema, which means systematic arrangement of organisms. Simplest deep explanation. Systematics comes from the Old Latin word systema. Systema means a proper step-by-step arrangement or organization. So systematics is all about putting living things into a system, just like organizing books on a shelf or clothes in a cupboard. Example. Imagine a big toy box. You sort the toys into categories. Cars go in one box, dolls go in another, animal figures go in a third box. That's what systematics does. It organizes life. Linnaeus used Systema Naturae as the title of his publication. Simplest deep explanation. A scientist named Carl Linnaeus, was very important in biology. He wrote a book called Systema Naturae, which means the system of nature. In that book, he tried to give every living thing a proper place, name, and group. It was like the first big catalog of life. That's why Linnaeus is called the father of modern taxonomy. Original sentence 5. The scope of systematics was later enlarged to include identification, nomenclature, and classification. Simplest deep explanation. Over time, scientists added more things to what systematics does. Now it includes 1. Identification. Finding out what the organism is. Example, you see a new flower and ask, is it a rose, lily, or something else? 2. Nomenclature means naming, giving that living thing a scientific name using rules like Latin words binomial system. Example, rose is called Rosa indica in scientific terms. 3. Classification, placing the organism in the right group based on its features, like putting it in the flowering plant group or saying it belongs to the rose family. So, systematics equals identify plus name group all living things. Original sentence 6. Systematics takes into account evolutionary relationships between organisms. Simplest deep explanation. Systematics also tries to understand which living things are related to each other and how they have evolved over time. This is called studying evolutionary relationships. Very simple example. Humans and monkeys, very similar, have a common ancestor. Dogs and wolves look and act alike, have a common ancestor. Birds and reptiles share some features, also have connections. Systematics helps draw a family tree of life, showing who is closely related, like cousins, who is distantly related, like distant family, who came earlier and who came later. Final deep, simple summary, world-class teaching style. For a long time, people have been curious about living things, plants, animals, birds, etc. They wanted to know, what kinds are there? How are they different? And how are they connected? This study is called systematics. It means organizing life properly. The word comes from systema, Latin, which means proper arrangement. The scientist Linnaeus used this word in his famous book, Systema Naturae. Today, systematics includes 3 things. 1. Identification. What is this living thing? 2. Nomenclature. What is its scientific name? 3. Classification. Which group does it belong to? Systematics also studies evolution, how living things are connected and how they changed over time. It helps us build a giant family tree of life. Would you like a diagram, a tree chart, or examples from animals and plants? I can explain how humans, whales, bats, and horses are all connected, even though they look so different. Absolutely. Here's a great summary of everything you just learned about taxonomic categories, written in the easiest words with full detail, like a world-class teacher explaining to a total beginner or a curious child. Summary. Taxonomic categories, the full picture in the simplest words. What is classification? Classification means putting living things into groups based on their similarities, like body features, how they live, how they reproduce, and more. Just like we group kitchen items, spoons, forks, plates, we also group living things, plants, animals, bacteria, fungi, to study and understand them better. Not a one-step process. Classification is not done in one single step. It is done in many steps, from the biggest group to the smallest group, like a ladder or staircase. Each step in this ladder is called a category or a rank. So we don't just say dog. We go through steps like animal, mammal, carnivore, dog family, dog genus, dog species. What is a taxonomic category? Each of these steps, bird, called a taxonomic category. A taxon, plural, is the science of these groups. A taxonomic hierarchy means all the categories placed in the correct order, from biggest group, kingdom, to smallest group, species. An example, insects. Insects are a group of organisms that all have 3 pairs of legs, 6 legs total, have jointed legs, share other common features. Because they are similar in these ways, we group them together under a category called insects. This is a real group, a taxon, not just based on looks, it's based on actual biology. Other such groups. Other examples of such categories include birds, feathers, beaks, lay eggs. Fish live in water, fins, gills. Mammals, hair, milk. Reptiles, scales, cold-blooded. Fungi, like mushrooms, do not make their own food. Each of these is a category, which is also a taxon and a rank. Very important point. These categories are not just made based on outside appearance, morphology, like color or shape. They are made based on deep biological features. Internal systems, way of reproduction, DNA and genes, evolution history. Example, a shark and a dolphin look alike and both swim, but a shark is a fish and a dolphin is a mammal. They are grouped separately because of their biology, not just looks. What is taxonomic hierarchy? This is the ordered arrangement of categories. From the broadest group, kingdom, to the most specific species, the taxonomic hierarchy is 1. Kingdom, biggest group, e.g. all animals. 2. Phylum, animals with similar body plans. 3. Class, more similar features, e.g. mammals. 4. Order, even more specific, e.g. meat eaters. 5. Family, close relatives, e.g. cat family. 6. Genus, very closely related, e.g. small cats. 7. Species, exact type, house cat. Example, domestic cat, Felis catus, and rank, cat's classification. Kingdom, kingdom. Animalia, all animals. Phylum, chordata, has a backbone. Class Mammalia, has hair, milk. Order, Carnivora, meat eater. Family, Felidae, cat family. Genus, Felis, small cats. Species, Felis catus, house cat. Hanashkar. Final thoughts. Classification helps scientists organize all life forms in a proper system. Taxonomic categories are the steps of that system. Each step is a taxon, a real scientific group. Taxonomic hierarchy is the ladder of these categories, from broadest to most specific. These groups are based on real biological features, not just how things look. If you'd like, I can now explain each of the 7 ranks, kingdom to species, in very simple words with their meanings and examples. Would you like that next? Absolutely. Here's a great, deep, detailed summary of everything we just explained, in the simplest language possible. This summary will help you fully understand how scientists group living things using taxonomic categories. Deep, simple summary. Taxonomic categories and how we use them. 1. What is taxonomy? Taxonomy is the science of grouping living things based on how they are similar or different. It helps us organize the huge variety of life, plants, animals, bacteria, fungi, etc. Without taxonomy, it would be confusing to talk about or study so many types of life. 2. What are taxonomic categories? Scientists put living things in called categories or ranks. These categories are always the same, so scientists all over the world can understand each other. The categories, from largest to smallest, are 1. Kingdom, the largest group, like all animals or all plants. 2. Phylum, for animals, or division, for plants. 3. Class. 4. Order. 5. Family. 6. 7. Species, the smallest, most exact group. All living things fit into this hierarchy, step-by-step system. Species is the smallest group. No matter what kind of living thing it is, plant, animal, fungus, etc., it will always have a species name. Species means a group of living things that are very similar and can have babies together. Examples: humans, Homo sapiens, dogs, Canis lupus familiaris, mango tree, Mangifera indica. 4. How do we place an organism in the right group? To put an organism into the correct group, scientists look at its characters, which means its features or traits. Examples of characters: does it have a backbone? Does it have fur, feathers, or scales? Does it make its own food, like a plant? Does it lay eggs or give birth? What kind of body parts does it have? By looking at these traits, scientists can compare organisms. Half 5. Comparing similarities and differences. Scientists look at both similarities to group living things that are alike, differences to separate things that are not alike. Example: a cat and a lion are different. Both have sharp teeth, are meat-eating family, Felidae. A shark and a dolphin both live in water and swim, but a shark is a fish, has gills, lays eggs. A dolphin is a mammal, has lungs, gives birth. So even though they look alike, they belong to different categories based on how their bodies actually work. 6. Why taxonomic categories are important. These categories help us identify, name, and study living things clearly. Scientists all over the world use the same system, so there's no confusion. It helps us understand how different life forms are related to each other. It also shows how life has evolved over time. Final big idea, takeaway. Taxonomy is like building a family tree of all living things. It's done using a step-by-step system, kingdom to species, where each step is called a taxonomic category. To know where an organism fits, we study its features, characters. This helps us know if it is similar or different from others. And at the end, this system helps us organize the living world, just like a library organizes books, so we can easily learn, find, and understand any living thing on Earth. Would you like me to now explain each of the 7 taxonomic categories, kingdom to species, one by one, with simple meanings and examples?